So this is someone called Alexander L. What it's like being openly detrans and why I'm quitting. Because I'd heard about his, apparently he had like really bad surgery issues. I could be mistaking him for someone else.
And salutations. If you're watching this video wondering whether the title was a clickbait, it's not. I want you to know that it's not. I'm not quitting YouTube, I'm not quitting making YouTube videos. That's not what I meant. So what exactly am I quitting?
Watched Alexander's video a couple of days ago, Heartbreaking Places. I can't imagine. From the title, I'm guessing it's not going to be good things. But then I've known that the trans community completely shits all over detransitioners for a long time. And when it's not doing that, it's like sweeping them under the bus at every opportunity.
Please watch this video and you will find out what exactly I'm quitting and why I'm doing this, and I hope that you will understand my reasons for this decision. It's been almost 1.5 years since I first came out publicly as detrans, as a detransitioner, and it's been a long ride, and for the most part it was fun. I loved a lot of it, and I did a lot of growing in those.
Oh, hey, Tame Pepper, how are you doing?
18 months now, almost, yeah. 18 months or 17 months of growing, and I don't think I ever told you what it felt like behind the scenes, you know, because when I turn off this camera, your insight into my world ends at that time. And I don't want you to think that I'm unhappy, because overall I'm doing great. I really do. My mental health has improved so much, so significantly in the last 1.5 years.
Hey, I feel this. Listen, since I started talking about this shit, I feel a lot better as well. Like, there's the odd kind of blip, and I think the other day was one of them, because someone I knew came in and started doing all this shit. And it turns out there's a whole lot of shit to it, and I can't be asked anymore. But yeah, for the most part, expressing yourself about this kind of shit really helps. And, you know, I've been able to find people that will actually listen to me, so, hey.
Since then, since I was...
But listen, I'm not a detransitioner, to be clear. I'm trans myself. I'm happily trans, but I'm also very cynical of the kind of ideology, and I'm the kind of person that's happy to admit that I'm a male, so...
able to get it out and talk about it, get rid of the regret and bitterness, you know, because I don't hold on to those things anymore, and I don't think I have for a while now, for a long time actually. It helps to talk about it, but there were things that were very difficult. And if you're a detransitioner watching this and you're considering, you know, getting a camera or turning on your phone and making that kind of video, talking about your experience, I want you to think it through, because it is difficult. And by no means do I regret that I did this. I think it was 100% correct thing to do at the time. And I think a lot of the videos I produced...
I'm happily trans, but also a TERF, apparently, yeah. I don't know. I don't call myself a TERF. I definitely have a lot of agreements with like gender critical. I think sex exists and is a binary. I don't think you can change your sex, and I don't even believe in gender identity really. I think it's a theory at best, and it's been rammed down our throats, but that's about it. So yeah, I don't know. I have my own views, I guess. And it wouldn't be a problem if like trans communities were able to handle different opinions. But that's not the case. Like, they just are not. And that's kind of roundabout way how I've ended up here, is like experiencing that shit for years on end, basically. All different places, you know.
Used throughout the time were helpful and informative. I hope so, at least. I know that they helped a lot of people, but based on some of the messages I got. Sorry.
Not validating the non-binary stuff would be a good start. Yeah. Like, the non-binary stuff completely swamped like trans communities, and you had to accept that as trans and accept the new definition of trans, which gets expanded to include them. Otherwise you're a terrible person, you're a true scum, etc, etc, etc. And we went along with it, so it's like, fuck. that's us fucked then. Listen, when it comes to passing, most people get to a certain point and they won't be able to pass any more than they can. even with a bunch of money. Like even things like facial surgery don't necessarily do a huge amount.
Yeah, I never cried on YouTube before, and I usually never do that. But I don't think I can record this video without doing it, to be honest. The blood is flowing to my nose. I look like an alcoholic right now. Oi, where's my bottle of vodka? So, yeah, if you're wondering whether you should do that, whether you should do activism, or whether you should talk about it publicly, whether on YouTube or in any media, really, I'd say you should ask yourself, what is your goal? Do you think you want to change something about
Oh, am I upholding Nazism? Very much, definitely. That's a joke, or is it?
how things are? Do you want to offer something of value to the current discourse on this topic? And if you're really, really passionate about it, do it. Absolutely. And I did it.
Hey, if you can lie to yourself about being the other sex, you can probably lie to yourself that surgeries can bring you over the past. Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, if you go see like a surgeon for a consultation, they're not going to be like, well, we can do this, but you'll still look like a man. Like, they're not going to say that, are they? So, I don't know.
I don't regret it, even if it was.
I'm Jewish and some of my ancestors died in the Holocaust. Oh, were they trans? Because trans people were the victims of the Holocaust, right?
Difficult and painful.
I think it was mostly trans people and then a couple of Jewish people, something like that. I can't remember. The point is J.K. Rowling is a Holocaust denier, apparently.
At times. But if that is not something you want to do, if you just want to...
Why would I make a random joke about Nazis? Someone was saying that someone was upholding Nazism. I didn't know if it was about me or not. And I'm a narcissist because I'm trans, so everything's about me. Oh, hi, Serena. How you doing? I make jokes about everything.
Get your thoughts and feelings out. And you don't want to get political about it, let's say. Open up.
Oh, yeah. I've been called a Nazi by plenty of TRAs. It's not their preferred one. It's usually pick me or like... On Twitter, they're like Quisling. Because, you know, nothing better than saying to anyone that disagrees with you on anything that they're a traitor to your kind, as if I want anything to do with these fucking freaks.
Up to the people you trust, or even record it, but you don't really have to upload it, you know? And I think there's a lot of pressure for that too. Oh, we need to hear more detransitioner stories, you know? But I don't think it should be done at the cost of your mental health.
He's very right here. Like, seeing as I kind of have come out doing something kind of tangential to what he's talking about, like, you do have to have a thick skin. And there is the odd day where, like, some of the hate does kind of drag me a little. It's just that I can get over it a lot easier than I used to be able to. And I don't care about being liked by people. Like, a lot of the trans people that I knew locally, I used to want to be liked by them, even though... Usually I was too anxious to really go anywhere or spend time with them or whatever. But yeah, I just don't care anymore. When people want to hold like a friendship for ransom behind an increasing number of hoops to jump through, it's just, I just don't do that shit. I don't do that shit. If I'm not on board with like a fucking boycott or a thing that people are pushing, then I'm going to say so. And if that's a problem, then I don't know.
Really. So if you can just open up to the people you trust, your family, your friends, or your partners, do that first. And find out how it feels to be able to talk about it. And
careful with the jokes, Mary. Some random dumbass pansexual trans woman with rainbow hair might accuse you of upholding cis heteronormativity, promoting transgenocide. Yeah, probably. Listen, I do uphold cis heteronormativity because, like, cis het is the norm. It is the default. It doesn't matter what these people say. That is the default. Like, I was a cis straight man before I transitioned gender. You know what I mean? It is the default, and I don't care. That doesn't mean that being gay or being trans or whatever is like, what's the word? It's not like that's less valid or whatever, but it's not the norm. Because the norm is for us to perform our function to reproduce. So.
I think, you know, we live in times where the reasons why we are seeing more detransition stories overall in the media and on the internet. Sometimes, I'm wondering whether it's not actually because there are more detransitioners than there were, let's say, 10 years ago. I think that we are more open to talk about it. More of us are opening up. That's also part of the reason why I think that there was an increase.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't an increase in detransitioners, though, where there's an increase in the amount of trans people in general.
In transitions later on, because more access to information, lack of shame and guilt that comes with it, and more openness led to more people actually taking those steps. And I think that there's the same thing happening with the transition, because there were almost no detrans voices at the time when I first started having those thoughts that, oh my god, what have I done? And all I could feel was shame at the time, and I just felt so alone in that. So I think in many ways those voices are helpful, and I think those voices are helpful because I think that we need to know what works and doesn't work when it comes to but social medical transition. Actually, I don't think social transition is bad for anyone, to be honest, but it's a difficult subject. It's a complicated subject, which isn't black and white, which has so many nuances. And if we want to offer people better healthcare, people need...
More than the norm or default, I would say it's the most common outcome. It's definitely the most common outcome, but I would say it's the norm because as like any other species, we have like a biological imperative to continue living and to reproduce. So that's kind of why I think of it like I do. I mean, we evolved from mammals. Mammals are like, they're all one male, one female in their own way. I don't know. To me, that is the default, and other people are differing. But that doesn't mean that I think that anything else is lower, because, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just not, it's not what we're evolved to do. Not that that matters anymore, the way we live. We don't live like we're evolved to, but ultimately that's what it comes from,
need to know when things go wrong. And I also think that these trans stories can help trans people in many ways, because if you cannot relate to my experience, let's say, well, that increases your chances that transition may be actually a good choice for you that you may benefit from. When I published my first video back in May 2023, which actually...
Oh wow, he practically started, I can call him a he, I'm presuming. He started like a year before I did. 8 years ago. Oh, it was a long time ago. Okay. And he's writing a book. Wow.
Because I always grow. There are things I said in that video that I don't necessarily agree with today, but I still think it was an important thing for me to make that video. And when it blew up, I never experienced anything like that before.
Self-elimination through transition is just living out the male experience, fair enough.
And I'm not someone who's used to attention. I like my alone time. I enjoy my privacy. So I live in Norway, and when the whole country here...
Who is Chris Corder?
...started to talk about me after that, it felt weird just reading threads about me on the internet, and many of those also contained a lot of lies and misinformation about me. And
yep, that's what's gonna happen. Wow. People say all kinds of stuff about me. They always have, though. I don't really give a shit
about my life, who I am, and so on. It's a horrible feeling actually when that happens. And I'm really comfortable with the kind of niche views I have. Like now, if I get a couple of hundred views, or maybe like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 views at best, I'm cool with that. I like that. I think I'm doing something for a small audience. And that's always been my thing, actually. I never wanted the whole world to know me.
The Church of Euthanasia.
I do have a lot of visions for the future when it comes to philosophy and technology and ethics and politics, especially when it comes to anarchism and transhumanism. I have a lot of views on how I think we could contribute in the future, but I don't want to be the sort of a person who everybody knows about. I never wanted that. So when that video at first got almost 100,000 views in a very, very short time, I was scared, to be honest. And then there was another thing, and that was the constant nagging from journalists. There was just so many of them that contacted me that wanted to talk to me, called me, and so on. And eventually I did an interview with one newspaper in Norway, which I don't think that article actually represented me as who I am or my views. I think it sort of infantilized my experience as well. But anyway, I think it was really built on...
What you're saying about people who can't afford it, that's why I tend to extend what I'd call trans to people with like desire to transition as opposed to actually doing it. Because there's going to be people who are waiting a long time, whether because there's like wait lists, whether because they can't afford it straight away. So I actually try and leave the door open as much as I can. I'm really not as like much of a trans med as people tend to make out I am.
Sensation. And I don't...
Yeah, the word valid is completely useless to me. When people think that I'm trying to make out that someone is less valid than someone else, I don't even know what that means. I don't have any desire to do so. I don't have any particular problem with any group of people, so...
I think our experiences needs to be sensationalized, really. I think they should be told for what they are.
I agree with that as well. Listen, I try and put these things on and just kind of hear them out and stuff. I would hope that I'm not like sensationalizing anything, and it's not the same as like talking to someone, but I don't know. I'm not like, you can sensationalize it and sound the alarm, or you can present it and say, there's problems here, I guess that's more how I try and do it, the latter.
So it was hard because there was so much I had to provide them. Basically, I had to provide evidence for every single thing I said in that 1.5 hour long video, which is a lot, really. And it was, I didn't have a second for myself at that point. I couldn't rest, I couldn't do anything, and my heart was racing constantly because, hey, all this attention I'm getting suddenly that I really wasn't expecting. I wasn't prepared for it at all. And so, I had to dig through all emails, like email exchange between me and the surgeon in Thailand to provide a proof that yes, I actually went to Thailand and I had the surgery, and the journalist even contacted the clinic there, and all he said basically was no comment.
Oh, hey Renoa. That's fine, yeah, let me know. I'll have to let you know when I'm free, but if you send me a message, that'll be fine. Hope you're doing good.
But when I was digging through those old emails, there was... I used to send like the pictures of the wound at first, to the surgeon to ask, well, why the hell is this shit happening and that, just watching that gore on the screen. And I don't mind gore. I watch a lot of films that are very, very violent and gory. I like that. But when it comes to your own body, and seeing that after all these years, it fucking broke me. It absolutely fucking broke me, seeing that. But I couldn't rest because I had to fucking go and provide more and more stuff for everything. Like every single day there was more they wanted from me. And I was so tired. I had enough. I had enough of people asking me to be on their podcast. Everything, But I kept doing it. And I don't think it was healthy for me, really. And then, well, if you decide to be openly detrans like that, prepare yourself for a lot of backlash, and the more recognized your story is, the more backlash.
Listen, I don't think Anision is a bad-looking dude. Yeah, Destiny's decent. It depends what you're going for.
Backlash you will receive. And now, I don't mind criticism, right? Because I think everything I said should be subjected to criticism, and I am always open to having conversations with anyone, really. But when you're seeing a lot of comments about you from... Let's focus on the right wing first. Because, I've been called everything from a freak to being told I'm a nut job, I need to be locked up in a mental institution. Zero empathy, zero sympathy from some people. And yeah, it can be told both about detransitioners and trans people alike, which really makes me think that we're in the same boat, because people who
I will say, yeah, the money side, it is easier said than done. But I don't know. There's always going to be that debate over whether people should pay for each other's like shit through taxes and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. Like, people are going to want to transition whether they're going to end up looking good or not, if you know what I mean.
really hate you, they hate us too.
And the thing is, feminizing facial surgery isn't on the NHS. Like, you do have to pay for your own anyway, as far as I know. Maybe on insurance it's different, I don't know. But I actually agree that like money and stuff shouldn't really be an obstacle, which is why, like I said, I leave the door open with the kind of definitions I use,
Really. And I think that's a good reason to stand together, if anything. Yes, I've experienced some homophobia and everything. Just it's been a tough ride, and then
I definitely get the odd like shitty comment from people that seem like right leaning, but I don't know. There's a lot of like generalizing in trans circles about right leaners, and I very much try and avoid that in general as best I can. Like, I probably generalize like TRAs a huge amount, but like there has to be some kind of distinction between like trans people and the people pushing the ideology kind of shit,
there's a lot of accusations coming from trans people, and it's like, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what you say. No, it doesn't. And it doesn't matter if you're detrans or just a trans woman that doesn't agree with them. Trust me on that. Jesus. Listen, I expect to take all kinds of shit. I don't think what I've seen so far is like even like a fraction of it. Because I mean, like the most views I've got on a video is like 3.2k or something. Like, if I keep going and it grows, like it's going to keep happening. But yeah, I very much know what he's talking about here.
If your goal is to actually build a bridge between trans people and detransitioners and have those conversations, because, I think we need to work towards a better treatment that takes both of us into consideration, and this can happen only.
Yeah, he's right. And the problem is, saying anything like that, expecting any kind of like compromise on the trans side is just, there is no compromise, like at all. It's the same thing that I get because I'm not pro like transitioning children, for example.
If we cooperate, if we talk, even debate in a friendly manner, because I think,
He's going to say anyway, but I wonder like if he ever managed to talk to any like trans people. I should have asked, when I spoke to Ray Alex Williams, I should have asked him if he really spoke to any trans people. But I mean, I don't know, it's very tough. It's tough trying to get any of those people to like talk to you. And they're going to make their mind up about you straight away, unfortunately, a lot of them.
Brainstorming. I think we should brainstorm.
Because like someone like this, like they'd be able to talk to someone like me very easily. But like, I'm not going to be debating on them. I'm not going to be debating them on a whole lot because we probably agree on a lot of stuff.
Really, how to do this in the future, where we need to move, because who knows about the implications, the benefits, and the harms of HRT?
Ray Alex Williams is detrans. Yeah. Yeah, what I was saying was I should have asked him like if he'd really spoken to any like trans people, because AGP, which he covers a lot, is another thing that gets like heavily discredited because trans people feel like it's not validating, like they're not actually a woman, they just have some kind of fetish. Oh yeah, Stuart, I'll believe it when I see it, you know what I mean?
And surgeries more than those who were subjected to it, right? Both trans people and detransitioners. And both of our experiences are important. But, it doesn't matter.
If you like the stream, you should consider liking the stream.
Because no matter what, there will always be that person who will tell you,
many people are deep in trans ideology, then coming out even somewhat critical can be life-ruining. Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, I kind of got to a point where it was like, I have nothing to lose. I don't know. Offline, I'd be burned as a word. Yeah.
Just because you detransitioner, you had that bad experience, doesn't mean everybody has.
Oh, we've had this today. Like, there was someone, I think they called like Laura Becker or something, talking about what they think the trans system should look like based on their experiences. And every fucking, including people like Brianna Wu, shitting all over this person. It's like, who are you helping by doing this? You know what I mean? Like, shitting all over this person because they have a different opinion on how trans shit should function based on their bad experience. Like, it's bizarre. And we pretend that we give a shit about detransitioners in the main. Like, who are these trans people out there that give a shit about detransitioners? You look at people's channels that are supposedly like progressive, pro-trans type people. They only talk about detransitioners when it's someone that's done something wrong that they can shit on. You know what I mean? I don't know many of them at all that will openly talk to someone that's had a bad experience and actually try and like empathize. They just watch them do something else and then shit on them. Or like read them to filth on Twitter or whatever. You know, you don't get to take away our rights. Like, come on, bro.
And I'm like, well, yeah, obviously. How stupid do you think I am in order to think that? Like, you literally have to be brain dead to think that everybody's experience is as yours. And to me, it's just...
See, that's what I never have had a problem with. I know that I've had a decent experience and that if it hasn't been right for me, then I would have ended up just a male version of this anyway, because I quite compulsively like feminize myself and stuff like that. But like, I've always assumed that not everyone has the same experience as me. And there has to be more from like the TRA side than just, well, there's detransitioners, but there's not very many of them, so who cares? And they never say the who cares thing, but they might as well. Like, whenever people pull that line out, they might as well say who cares, because that's what I'm hearing. I don't think any of them do legitimately care about the people that go through this procedure and don't have a good time. I don't think any of them care about this. And they want to push the procedure on more people. They want to push it on kids now, which to me, that's gonna raise the detrans rate exponentially. It's already higher than any of these people will admit it, so.
Such an obvious thing that I don't think it is worth mentioning.
Yeah, the problem is so many of these people are fucking stupid. And this guy does not sound stupid. He sounds very intelligent. So he probably feels a fair amount of that disconnect where people are just not making any fucking sense and seem to think like children. Because unfortunately, that's just what they're like. And maybe he's not quite as used to those kind of people, or wasn't when he started, as he probably is now and is presumably sick of them.
Don't want to simplify things and mention those things all the time, because I don't want to treat trans people as kids. I do not wish to infantilize you and talk.
Nope, they want to infantilize themselves, though.
To your little children who need to be affirmed at every single step. I won't do that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, and I do think that transition comes with both benefits and harms, and I think that we should make improvements to the treatment. I think we should really focus on science, medicine, and technology to improve those treatments to...
See, I do not agree at all with these people that are like, oh, I don't like detransitioners when they're trying to take our rights away. Like, I don't like that shit, but at the same time, an attitude like this is better. Like, clearly this person isn't some transphobe, you know what I mean? Clearly he's not trying to ruin everyone's lives or whatever shit people say because he had a bad experience. Like, you know, there's just no way, you know.
Reduce harms and provide as many benefits as we possibly can. But, you know, sometimes it feels like it's absolutely impossible to talk about the negative effects of HRT or surgery complications without someone always telling you that you want to ban those things. And then, no, I don't, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Jesus Christ. And it's like, it doesn't matter how nice you are. It doesn't matter how reasonable you are. Because there's no reasoning with the unreasonable.
And everybody who knows me, everybody who ever talked to me, knows that is not my intention. I think we should be able to have those conversations about what is harming us without it being about accusing the transitioners of wanted to ban that. And yes, there are detransitioners who want to ban that and are vocal about that, and I disagree with them personally. But you can't put each and every one of us.
I disagree with them too, but they have to be like able to express their opinions.
In that box, really. I don't think we should be doing that to each other. Like, let's say, I think estrogen can have negative effects on individuals. Like, let's say, if you're a trans woman and you want to take estrogen, if you have past traumas or struggle with your mental health, know that estrogen might actually worsen your symptoms of trauma and depression, because estrogen intensifies your emotions. And I've been through that, and I know how much my own symptoms worsened at that time. It provides some level.
When I took a T blocker for a few months before my surgery, it made me extremely like oversensitive. I'd get wound up by everything and like set off by everything. And I was working in a Wetherspoon at the time, so it happened all the time. I had a lot of problems.
Of instability. And that is not to say that I want to ban HRT, but I think it's a very important thing to talk about and take into consideration. And I think we've been so focused when it comes to this discourse on this binary of banning and gatekeeping and just allowing everyone to transition, that we don't see anything beyond that. I think we should move away from that debate at all, and instead of focusing on improving the treatment and actually having important conversations that are not motivated.
Am I not like that after my surgery? A little bit, but not as bad as that. Like, it was like on a whole other level. Surely gonadectomy would just do the same thing T blockers do. I mean, I don't know. The thing I took was called Decapeptyl. I can put it in chat. I mean, feel free to look it up. I don't know. Feel free to look it up and work out for yourself, I guess. But yeah, it made me way more sensitive. Like, I took estrogen by itself, and I guess I had both estrogen and testosterone being produced in my body for quite a long time. And it was when I took this T blocker that I really got like, it really changed me a little bit.
In this A versus B sort of thing. But yeah, it doesn't matter, because no matter how good your intentions are, no matter if you want to build a bridge or not, there will be always someone who will accuse you of something, someone.
This is very true. And I think it's why I'm not really trying very hard to appease TRAs and stuff. I want to be able to appeal to like trans moderates like myself, but like people on the extremes, I just really don't care to appeal towards. And if that means sometimes I misgender someone and get in trouble with it, I mean, I'm shit at pronouns anyway, so it's just going to happen. So I don't know.
Who will hate you simply because you're a detransitioner.
Not simply because you're a detransitioner. It's more about disagreeing with them honestly and suggesting anything contrary to what they think. I don't think it's got anything to do with being a detransitioner, almost. Like, there's plenty of reasons why they can hate you, and being a detransitioner is just one of them. And the thing is, it kind of feels like in trans circles, detransitioners will only ever get ignored or shat all over. So, hey, I guess I would say if you're a detransitioner that's going to come out and talk on the internet, then yeah, you're definitely going to get shat on. But so is someone like me. I mean, look at the way someone like Blair White is treated, you know? Increases testosterone before suppression occurs. It could be that, yeah. I don't know. Like, I was not... I was difficult. I was difficult to deal with. And I don't know what other kind of effects the chemical has on me, whereas a gonadectomy is kind of... I'm not sure, actually. My science knowledge is starting to fail me here, so I guess I'll just keep going.
And I really think this discourse is toxic, and it's one of the most toxic areas of any discussions.
True.
Currently. And trans people experience it too, because I know it. Because I talk to trans people. I have friends who are trans. And I know that...
Yeah, some people are really shitty to trans people, and too many of us decide that that means it's okay for us to be shitty to other people, even people who've done nothing wrong. Maybe just people who say something that doesn't, 100% align with us. And it's gone like completely, beyond the line,
The amount of pressure and fear they're living under, the amount of discrimination they are experiencing. And my feelings go to them too, because we're not that different really. And I don't think
Yeah, this guy deserves a lot better, Jesus Christ.
we should be enemies. So, yes, I am quitting.
Like, I feel the same way, like, fucking hell. Like, you know, like I said, you know, I debated with a trans person the other day as a video of it. It's not personal. We have different opinions, and I want to be able to voice them. And having someone there that will actually, like, entertain it, even if they disagree and will push back, is, like, really important. And more people need to be like that. Because the thing is, if you're willing to shit on anyone that disagrees with you, but you're not willing to, like, go into a call and actually talk to someone and try and understand each other's issues, then it's like, what the fuck are you doing? So many of these people just want to fucking bully people on Twitter or, like, bully people on YouTube because they follow Jammy Dodger or Leo and Willie or whoever the fuck, you know, one of these, like, toxic audiences that just comes for anyone that says the wrong thing, you know? But it's useless. Like, what's the point of you, you know?
I am quitting talking about this. This will be one of the last videos I will make on this subject. There will be, well, it's already scheduled, but I'm doing an interview with a trans person in near future. So expect that video at some point in November. And I'll also do another interview with one researcher who works with that, because we are already in touch and been in touch for a long time. But those will be the last 2 videos I do on the topic of trans, detrans. Unless I really have a good reason to do that in the future.
Yeah, you might come across someone on YouTube called, like, The Mary Chew or some shit and be like, oh, I've got to talk to this person. I'm kidding. It doesn't matter who I talk to or don't talk to, as long as it's, like, someone. But yeah, like, I don't know, it sucks that you just can't talk about this kind of shit unless you're willing to wade through a fucking shit ton of crap from people. Like, it shouldn't be like that for anyone, really.
Future. Why am I doing this? Well,
The rest is future stuff. Let's have a look. Why I'm quitting.
first of all,
I'll just listen a little bit further just to cross it off, you know.
I think it was tiresome for many reasons. All the reasons I've mentioned, you know, and just getting those same questions and accusations all the time is tiresome. It's like walking in circles, and you don't really go.
Where's TRA? So TRA stands for Trans Rights Activist. Basically the more militant trans types who generally are very far left or pretending to be, you know, all those kind of things that all the crazy trans people are. Because they pretend there's not, like, a group, and it's not like a movement of any kind, which I guess means that everyone just coincidentally is all far left and polyamorous and extremely angry about literally everything, you know what I mean? It's all coincidental, I guess, but morons and sure, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I say that. I respect any TRA type who at least will, like, engage in conversation, or at least will talk to me without being a dick about it, which is not many of them, but, you know, I'm not going to shit on someone who's giving me no reason to, you know what I mean? But in general, these kind of people are, like, you know, they're too extreme for me to really care about appealing to, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm not trying to reach any of these people.
Go anywhere when you move in circles, and I'm always a person who likes to move forward. I don't like to move in circles. And I think, like, most conversations that are happening online are going in circles, and I don't think...
This is very true. I don't mind this too much. The thing about, like, debating and stuff, I don't really expect to, like, win or to, like, destroy people with facts and logic or any of that shit. It's more about just being able to put my positions across and actually at least get some kind of rebuttal. Because most of the time when I make points about things, the response I get almost invariably has fuck all to do with anything I said. And it's some kind of bullshit tactic to move away from the subject or to push it back onto me. You know, I've had long attempted conversations with people I thought I was friends with where all they do is fucking psychoanalyze me, which is difficult enough to do to, like, a regular person. Someone like me who has some kinds of, like, mental health issues or whatever you want to call it, it's even more difficult to. So I don't know why anyone would, but that's what they all go for, because they don't want to engage ultimately. Samantha Lux is a TRA, then right? I'd guess I'd say so, yeah. She's not the worst one out there, but like someone like Jammy Dodger, I think is very egregious. I think he lies like constantly. And all of them do. It's all about trans being right and correct and valid and not weird or anything in any way. And almost to the point of like pretending people like this don't exist, you know what I mean?
I think that online communication is the best way to go about it, really. Speaking of moving forward, I also want you to know that I have moved on. I no longer really identify with the label detransitioner. At this point, I'm just a guy. I'm just a man. There's nothing more, nothing less. I don't wish to hold on to it, and I think I've offered enough on this platform, and I don't want my life to revolve around it, you know, because I've done my healing at this point. And does that fact that I did heal, does it change the fact that I'm still mentally ill? No, absolutely not. And I will always be, and I will always struggle in some way, but
I wonder if he kind of feels, to a certain extent, like the detransition thing kind of becomes its own kind of identity. And it probably does for some of these detransitioners. Like maybe it becomes basically another kind of transition almost, in a way. If you know what I mean. Maybe that made no sense, I don't fucking know. Most TRAs are grifters, same with so-called trans charity organizations. Yeah, there's some really dodgy ones out there. I'm really not a fan, especially of like organizations like WPATH. I think there's a lot of problems with them. Many of Jammy points can have been debunked. Blockers being safe and temporary. Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, I've watched several Jammy Dodger videos on my channel. They usually get good views. I usually get a lot of like hate comments, although that's kind of what I expect for a certain extent. But yeah, like there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff, you know. There's so much stuff he says that is just patently wrong. And like I watched Matt Walsh responding to him looking at the What Is a Woman trailer. And it's like, it becomes so obvious. Like Matt Walsh didn't really get to where he did from being like a super smart guy that's like exposing shit. He just asked a few simple questions that people couldn't respond in a sane way. And then he gets these like trans idiots and these ally idiots who show up and like they've got nothing to say. Like they think they're like owning Matt Walsh with facts and logic, and they're just not. It's kind of pathetic. If you pass over the condescension, there's not much there. I think he lies a ton, and I think he's one of the most guilty ones that I've seen so far of throwing detransitioners under the bus. Like I've literally heard the line that I keep saying, like as a joke, you know, like, you know, I have no problem with detransitioners. Oh, Nominal Naomi is like way more like insufferable for sure. Like I can't stand watching her. But yeah, Jammy Dodger definitely does there's not many detransitioners, and the detransition rate is really low, and we'll cite some incorrect number, and like that's it. And you know,
but the amount of improvement I did is something that makes me think.
At Ocado, find chalks and calendars you'll...
You know, I am.
I usually just watch videos. I guess if you're in the US, that makes sense. I probably stream super early because I'm in the UK.
I'm kind of proud of myself because I got kind of far, you know? And I just think it's something that holds me back at this point. Because, well, I still struggle with medical complications of the surgery and will for the rest of my life. I don't want it to be something that holds me back here, you know? And I don't want to live in the past. That being said, I will finish writing the book on this subject. And that will be my final contribution to this. After that, I'm 100% done. This also brings me to one other reason why I no longer want to make videos about the transition. It's because I've spent so many hours writing this book. It became a huge portion of my life. And if I bring the element of detransition to other things I'm doing, such as making YouTube videos, I don't want my whole life to revolve around it.
Yeah, so I get what he's saying. I think I've got the measure of this. He seems like a really nice guy. He seems very smart. I might go back and look at some of his like older detransition stuff. Hopefully that's not like bad etiquette or something. I don't know. Yeah. Hang on one sec. But yeah, Alexander L. So that was him quitting being openly detrans. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel for him. I definitely relate to a lot of stuff, especially dealing with trans communities and shit.